Hello sports fans, welcome to Super Sports Central. Today we have Sports News episode 71. So starting off with the NBA, Warriors guard Klay Thompson played his first NBA game in over 2 years, 941 days to be exact. He was kept off the court due to a torn Achilles and a torn ACL, and in his return, he played 20 minutes, scoring 17 points with 1 assist and 3 rebounds. One of the worst teams, the Pistons, beat one of the best teams, the Jazz. So the Pistons won behind number 1 overall pick Cade Cunningham's career-high 29 points. The Pistons won by a score of 121 to 116. Portland Trailblazers star Damian Lillard will miss at least another week with an abdominal strain. The best teams in the NBA are the Warriors, 30-9, the Suns, 30-9, and the Bulls, 26-11. The worst teams are the Rockets, 11-31, Pistons, 9-30, and Magic, 7-34. Onto the NHL, Jack Eichel skates with the Golden Knights for the first time. After having neck surgery, he was acquired via a trade from the Sabres. The NHL will announce the All-Star rosters this Thursday. However, the captains for each team have been announced. So the NHL has this All-Star format where it's a best-of-3, or not a best-of-3, a 3-game tournament, and each division plays. So the captain of the Atlantic Division is Austin Matthews of the Maple Leafs. The Metropolitan Division captain is Alex Ovechkin from the Capitals. Nathan McKinnon from the Avalanche is the captain of the Central, and of the Pacific, that is Oilers' Connor McDavid. Blackhawks goalie Marc-Andre Fleury returned to Las Vegas for the first time since being traded to the Blackhawks. He was the Vegas goalie in their first few seasons, and in his return, his team, the Blackhawks, won 2-1. Longtime Bruins goalie Tuukka Rask signs a 1-year deal with the Bruins. He was a free agent who was recovering from hip surgery. Wild Kirill Kaprizov has been placed on the injured reserve with an upper body injury. The best and the worst teams. The best are the Panthers, 23-7-5, Lightning, 23-9-5, and Hurricanes, 24-7-2. The worst teams are the Senators, 9-18-2, Canadiens, 7-23-4, and Coyotes, 7-23-3. The MLB is still in a lockout. However, the MLB and the MLB Players Association plan to meet Thursday to work on a potentially a part of the new CBA deal. So on to the NFL. Yesterday was Black Monday, meaning the first day after the regular season ends, where a lot of coaches are fired. So there is now 6 head coaching vacancies in the NFL. Some were made recently. So starting off, this was announced yesterday, Monday. The Dolphins have fired coach Brian Flores. So I do not think the Dolphins should have fired him. Yes, they got off to a horrible start with a 1-7 record through 8 games. Then they went on a 7-game winning streak and narrowly missed the playoffs. Brian Flores is a good coach. I think they should have stuck with him for another year. They had a winning season, back-to-back years, so they definitely should not have fired Brian Flores. The Bears fired Matt Nagy. I'm pretty sure every one of you watching that, including me recording this, expected that. And the Bears have announced they're going to interview Brian Flores for the head coaching job. The Vikings fired head coach Mike Zimmer. The Broncos fired head coach Vic Fangio. And the Giants fired head coach Joe Judge. The Giants general manager Dave Gettleman also retired. So now there's head coaching vacancies at the Dolphins, the Raiders, the Jaguars, the Broncos, the Bears, the Vikings, and the Giants. The NFL playoff field is set. In the AFC, the Titans are the 1 seed, getting a first-round bye. Big boost for Derrick Henry, because he should be back for the divisional round against whoever they play. Chiefs at number 2, Bills 3, Bengals 4, Raiders 5, Patriots 6, Steelers 7. We'll get to that Raiders-Chargers game in a minute. That was a wild game. especially the ending. In the NFC, Packers won with the first round bye and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Buccaneers number 2, Cowboys number 3, Rams number 4, Cardinals number 5, 49ers number 6, and Eagles number 7. Saints quarterback Taysom Hill needs foot surgery. The Buccaneers injury report heading into the playoffs, they're getting a lot of good news. Leonard Fournette, Shaquille Barrett, and Jason Pierre-Paul are all expected to be ready for the playoffs. Still to be determined whether or not Lavonte David, the linebacker, will be able to play against the Eagles. The Seahawks expect star safety Jamal Adams and running back Chris Carson to both be ready for the start of training camp after undergoing surgery for the Jamal Adams had a torn labrum in his shoulder, and Chris Carson needed neck surgery. Steelers' T.J. Watt tied the all-time sack record, tying Michael Strahan's 22.5 sacks in a season. Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp wins the receiving triple crown, meaning he has the most receptions in the league, receiving yards in the league, and receiving touchdowns in the league. The Jaguars will pick first in the NFL draft for the second year in a row. Even though they beat the Colts, the Jaguars got extremely lucky. They beat the Colts, and the Lions would have gotten the first pick if they had lost to the Packers, but luckily the Lions beat the Packers. So, on to the Raiders-Chargers game. That was a wild ending, and a fitting way to end the longest season ever. So the Raiders and Chargers could have ended the game intentionally in a tie, and both made the playoffs, which would have eliminated the Steelers. Both teams made a play to thrower. The Chargers made 6 fourth-down conversions and scored on a touchdown pass as time expired, as Justin Herbert hit Mike Williams for the game-tying touchdown. In overtime, both teams kicked field goals to tie the game at 32. The Raiders could have ended the game in a tie, but they then ended up kicking the game-winning field goal as time expired in overtime. And Chargers coach Brandon Staley made a questionable decision. They called a timeout with 38 seconds remaining and about 4 or 5 seconds left on the play clock. And Brandon Staley said he called the timeout because they knew the Raiders were going to run the ball and they wanted to get the correct personnel on the field, which would mean bringing in an extra defensive lineman. That play went for a pretty big game, not huge, but like a sizable game, and then they kicked the game-winning field goal. So yes, I think it could have impacted the Raiders' decision to tie versus win. I think the Raiders would have tried to kick the game-winning field goal anyway, no matter where they were. But everyone's saying, why would he do that? Because he stopped the clock. There was 4 seconds left on the play clock. What? It's 4 seconds. It's not the biggest deal. Onto college football. Georgia beat Alabama 33-18 to win their first national championship since 1980. And very unfortunate news for Alabama star wide receiver Jameson Williams, who suffered a torn ACL in last night's championship game. Jameson Williams is a junior, so he will be able to return to college if he wants to. So he could really end up making either decision. He had such a great year and he showed so much potential. But now that's definitely going to hurt his draft stock, and it's going to take a massive tumble. So it's going to be interesting to see if he decides to come back to college for a year or go pro. So I'm interested to see the decision he makes. And my final college football rankings of the overall season came out today, so make sure you go check those out. And so that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment. And I will see you Thursday for my NFL playoff predictions.